Hey, hey,
Hey, hey,
hey.
hey.
Whoops. Hey, hey, hey. This is Charlie Perry, and you are listening to the Really Charlie podcast. Hi, Teresa. How you doing?
Hi, doing great, Charlie. Good to see you.
Oh, this has been a crazy day, but it's well worth it because I'm talking to you now, and that's all that matters. The We're gonna share this to your page, so your friends and family could actually comment. You know, we have a few mutual friends, but we don't have a lot, so I want to make sure that they can hear us on your page. All right.
Perfect.
So
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna go to Facebook, and I'm gonna actually go ahead and share it with all your friends and family because this interview is gonna be amazing, and I promise you that because I am actually I was so excited about this, and everyone's talking, you know, especially some of our friends about me getting you on here, and I just said, well, I'm gonna send her a message, and we're gonna go from there. So I'm glad we're getting this going. I mean, it would have been great at WMB1 radio, um, but we gotta adapt. All right, let's see. All right, if you can go to my page on Facebook because it's not allowing me to add this to your page.
Okay.
Meaning you got restrictions on it, so you would have to go to my profile and just share it. Okay.
Okay. Let's see it on here. Hmm.
Maybe if you click home and then the podcast should show up.
Just in the process. Will there be a recording available?
Yeah, let me
Hmm.
let me see if I can send it through Messenger.
Okay. Yeah,
It should.
if we can make this public, then I can.
Yeah.
We're having some.
Comments not.
Okay, let me copy it and see if I can get it to mine. Here we go. Yes. Yes. Oops. Let's see. Okay. I'm not certain that did it. But like you said, there'll be a recording so I can share it to
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook.
Try my page right now, Teresa. I'm sorry.
No worries. You're not allowed to say sorry.
I just put it public.
Okay. So I'm on your page, but I don't see where it will.
Mm. I just put it on my page again. This is crazy. Killing me. Um, Let me do some here.
So it looks like you have 2 pages, right? Okay, so what is it?
Nothing yet, huh?
Yeah, it just said it talks about session tour, pop-up page. This looks like the last post that you have on there that I see. It's the Really Charlie podcast.
Yeah, but try Charlie Perry first. If
What it posts.
Yeah, it'd be Charlie Perry.
Okay, so the last post you have on there is from a day ago, it looks like.
Yeah, like Allison Cerusi. Is that a
Yeah,
friend?
she's
Yeah,
there.
she's on. All right. Let's go with this. All right.
Yeah, she's an old supervisor. She's awesome. She's been hanging in there since 6 o'clock trying to get in there. But she's
I'm sorry.
love it.
It's Allison. Is that it?
It's really, yeah, she's
Okay.
amazing. And,
All right. Let's do this. Let's do this right. Okay. We're gonna start all over. People look at me and say, "What's going on with Charlie today?" I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
I think it's me, Charlie. This is what happens. It's crazy.
Oh no, it ain't you. Let's do this right here. Here we go. 1 second.
It's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass.
Hey, welcome to the Really Charlie Podcast. I'm Charlie Perry, and today's guest is Teresa Baker-Opland. I hope I pronounced that right. And this wonderful human being has been very patient with me today, but she is a U.S. veteran. She is a medium, an angel messenger. She is all of it. Amazing, special person. And someone reached out to me and they said, "Look, you got to get her on your podcast." And I'm like, okay, tell me something. And he just told me a little bit, and that was Paul Paris. He said, "Look, get her on the podcast, and you will be amazed." And in just that short period of time, it probably took me maybe 10 minutes. I was already impressed. I said, "Wow, yep, we got to get her on." U.S. veteran. That's something dear to my heart. I would walk to California for any U.S. veteran if I had to. Thank you for your service, and but thank you for your business. That's something else that's very special to me because I am very impressed with any medium, and I think I don't take anything that you do for granted. And but welcome on board on the Really Charlie podcast.
Oh, thank you, Charlie, and thank you for the support and amazing words. And yes, we can thank Paul for this. We've been friends since high school.
Oh, you're being punished.
I'm being punished. No, Paul's. Yeah. So I'm happy to be here and happy to connect with you and your listeners.
Yeah, this is. I have several questions I want to ask you, and it's and this is going to be a podcast. We're trying to highlight you, right? And I want to highlight you in a great, great way. Um, WNB1 Radio is an internet radio based station in New Bedford, Mass, at 262 Union Street, and they're doing amazing things. And with our connection today, we were going to connect through a live stream through the state studio, and um, but now we're here. I'm at home, and I had to get this show on because I was anticipating this so much, and I was like, you should have seen me today. I was in driving my little bus, bring some kids up to Bridgewater State, and then thinking of everything I'm going to do, including the questions and what I'm going to ask you. So let's start. Let's start with where people could find you, right? Where could we find you as far as your business and connecting with you, and then we're going to go dive in right into U.S. military service. Okay.
Excellent. And again, thanks for the support. So I have a website, teresabakeropland.com. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and I have an office in Bedford, New Hampshire, where I see people in person. And most of my work right now is actually virtual, and I can thank COVID for that. It was actually a great way to sort of be forced to do this work in that way. And I'm finding that people actually enjoy it. You don't have to leave your home, and we can connect in that way. And I'm actually working on some programs and classes now that I have the time to do that, and a newsletter and all kind of fun things. So.
Ooh, I gotta sign up. I definitely have to sign up. I can't wait. The yeah, it's very impressive what you're doing, and I want to commend you for stepping up to the plate, raising your right hand, and swearing in to serve this fine country. You can call it anything you want, but guess what? I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world but right here. All right, my first question for you, my VIP for the day, for the night. What inspired you to join the military, and what was your first experience like?
Oh, what inspired me? Honestly, my brother, who you know.
Mm-hmm.
For me, he's always been an inspiration. He's such a grounded, very methodical human being, and I absolutely adore him and everything that he's about. But the fact that he raised his hand told me this is probably something I should look at, because he doesn't do anything without a lot of thought. And so maybe that's something I should check out too. So honestly, it wasn't even my idea. Basically, I've been following him around. He's my Irish twin, 11 years old.
Yep.
I've basically followed him my whole life. I thought, sure, why not here too? So it ended up being probably the most important decision in my life, because it led to so many other things. And the first experience was actually everything I hoped it would be. I was blessed enough so I joined the Navy first. And I moved to the Air Force, long story. But it was great. I got Pearl Harbor, Hawaii as my first duty station. I worked for admirals, met amazing people. Coretta Scott King, the King of Tonga, the Prince of Malaysia. But I could go on. An amazing experience. And so I thought, wow, this is definitely for me. Of course, it changed and shifted. That was just my first experience, and then lots have happened since then. But all in all, the best decision I've ever made.
Yeah, and guess what? If I had seen, I was already thinking about the military, the U.S. Army, and then the police department called me, so I end up serving in that way. But let me talk to you about your brother, right? The guy is well dressed, sharp. He's anything you see in any of the military movies. This is him. This is D, right, as they call him. He's impressive, and you look at him, and just his appearance will motivate you to do exactly what you did, right? And so I want to say, as his friend, that he impressed me. He's always impressed me. Always that type of dude that was a class act, showing much character. So I appreciate him inspiring you, but he probably inspired thousands of people just by the person he is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So great, great. The Navy. That's wow. That's I have several people in my family that were U.S. veterans, Navy veterans, and they had some crazy experiences. Um, we have this one picture of my uncle Bobby diving off a ship. And I forget where he was, but they were all diving off, and swimming in the Pacific Ocean. It was crazy. So
Why, why not?
yeah. So the can you share a particularly challenging or memorable moment from your military service?
Yeah, so probably, geez, is a lot. Probably the most recent challenging experience was when I was assigned to the COVID-19 task force because everything was in total lockdown. Even the installation, the entire base was shut down. And I was called up. And so, of course, first you feel honored to be selected to do that, especially where it's literally just a handful of people on the entire installation. And it was challenging because we knew so little about what was happening. But I
Hmm.
would you'll see the emergency operating center just watching the numbers. And now I've got a family that I left at home to go and serve in this way and support however I was asked. And so it was a bit terrifying because then I would come home and I'm thinking, okay, what if I'm sick? What if I get everybody else sick? What if I get the kids sick? And so it was because it was unknown. And so to me,
Hmm.
that was challenging and a bit scary, like I said, as we were watching the numbers. So that's the most recent challenge that I had. But, obviously all was well.
I want to bless you and say thank you for going through that because it was one of at least in our lifetimes that it's the most challenging thing that we have gone through as human beings on this earth, and it was challenging for everybody. So and it's not like you could say no, right? It's not like you could have to do what you had to.
Right. And you don't want to say no because this is why you're here, right? This is why you joined. This is why you raised your hand. And if you're blessed enough to be able to serve in a way that's going to make a difference, I think that's what it's all about. So I never even gave it a second thought. You just work through the fear and you do it anyway. So, but that was one of them. Honestly, the most challenging for me was the death of my military husband, and
Man,
that was life altering, life changing. So
man,
that's
sorry to hear that.
yeah, we're a Gold Star family. So, um, yeah, that one goes way back.
Yeah. Wow. Um, what advice would you give to a young woman considering a military career?
And make sure you're doing it for the right reasons because you will have some challenging times, and it's easier to move through it and continue to show up if your why is important to you. And so
Hmm.
just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, not because you're expected to or somebody and your family's done it and you want to follow the footsteps, much like I did, although I was blessed enough to have a good experience, but not all of them. So just make sure your why is your own and not someone else's. And then if you feel the call, answer because it is an amazing way of life. It really is. And the relationships that you make and the friendships that you create, they're lifelong. So
Hmm.
you feel the call, if there's something there for you, yeah, say yes.
I agree. The how many of your friends, your colleagues got married right after boot camp?
Um, Probably too many.
Yeah.
Too many. Yeah. Yeah, they don't typically end well. And I think part of it is because when you first go in, you feel like you're alone and you're looking for somebody to kind of ride shotgun and share the experience with you. But it's not necessary. You're going to meet amazing people. You don't have to commit yourself in that way unless it's real, unless it's true. I mean, if you look at my brother, he and his wife Tracy have been married since right after boot camp and still
Hmm.
together. So it absolutely can work. Again, I defer back to my first answer. Make sure it's for the right reasons. So, right?
Yes, exactly. All right. Now those are all great questions, great answers. But we want to get to the angel messenger that you are, right? And the medium and everything that you do. There's a place for everybody, right? Um, and I may be wrong, but being an angel messenger, right, is something you're born with. You think?
Honestly, I love that you're bringing this up because that's not necessarily true. So there's two schools of thought. Yeah, you're born with it, but guess what? We're all born with it. I mean, no one is so special that they're not. We all have
Awesome.
the same energy body. We all have the same connection to source, God, divine, angelic realm, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it's not for everybody, but certainly with intention, dedication, and education on it, anyone can do this. I mean, it's not me personally. It's not like I woke up one day and I thought, "Oh, I'm going to be a medium. I want to try this thing." It
Hmm.
wasn't at all. It was the passing of my husband that sort of left me so grief stricken that I was really searching for answers and some sort of connection to make sure he was okay. And I didn't even know what mediumship was, raised Roman Catholic. And I was part of a young widow support group, and some of the girls were on a wait list for a very well known medium in my area. And it was a year long wait list. And so I got on it. I had no idea what was going to happen. And I showed up, and he brought through the most beautiful evidence that he's still around in me. He's still around
Hmm.
in my kids, and proved the continuity of life. And I just fell so in love with the idea of that I went on, that I became curious. And next thing you know, I'm taking classes, still working, raising kids, doing all curiosity than anything. And then, fast forward a number of years and training all over the world, then I started looking for other people, and I thought, maybe there's something here for me. So I do believe that's going to be the next chapter of my life is doing that as another way to serve. So
Hmm.
I'm excited about that. But it's not like I woke up. Where I was going with that, I didn't all of a sudden decide to do that. But I have since then learned that anyone can. If you feel called to do it, even if it's just a curiosity, just follow that and see where it leads you. Because I promise there's something there. There's something there for you.
Well, I always encourage people to write books. And I hope at one point in your life that you decide to sit down on a daily basis and write a few things, right? And write a few things about your amazing story and experience. Because it's definitely needed. And I think you can help somebody by writing a book. So do that.
Thank
So I
you.
can,
I appreciate that. That's the validation that I needed to hear again. I've actually started the manuscript. Starting with the story and starting with the process, like how I do it, how I learned to do it.
wow, that's good.
Yeah, so thank you.
Um, yeah. Um, there's a comment. I'll get to that later. Okay. Um, so I'm going to skip question one because you basically answered it. Can you describe a remarkable or a life changing experience you had as a medium?
Yes. There's so many. Yeah. So honestly, it was when I when I came to the realization that my late husband was actually sort of, and we won't make this a whole class on spirituality and what's
Hmm.
real, how it works, unless you want to, but he's sort of part of my team and how I do the work because I was doing a demonstration. This was a couple of years ago, actually more than a couple. And I was having, it was sort of the end of the evening, and I was having a hard time maintaining the energy. And I thought, one more, because I could feel sort of the angst of a woman that was in the audience, really longing to connect with her loved one. And I kept hearing husband, husband. And I thought, okay, clearly she's here to pick my husband, but I was already tanked. And then using my clairvoyant ability, again, we all have that. In my mind's eye, I saw my husband sort of approach me in his Marine uniform, walking along with a gentleman coming closer. And I thought, what is happening here? Because this man was so, on the other side, he was so sort of apprehensive about even, because they're a little nervous on the other side as well. He was a
Yeah.
bit apprehensive about coming closer, and my energy was low, so I was really struggling with that. He sort of lended me his energy and brought this gentleman through so that I was able to create that link and bring the spirit through for this woman. And for me, it was probably the most profound moment because I understood that, you know, I still have his support even on that side. Not always, only when I really need it.
Hmm.
Because this is my journey. And so, yeah, that was pretty memorable. And I think, yeah, again, proof that even on the other side, we sort of continue our work and we continue to support the people that we love and care about. So, you know, it's not like they're completely gone,
Hmm.
and when you need them, they're still there, and it's beautiful.
That's good to know because sometimes I lost a lot of people from my dad to grandmothers, grandfathers, and when they left, it was seemed like it was something was missing, something we didn't talk about. There was another conversation that I needed to have, and with most of them, all I needed was 5 minutes, right? And that's why life is so precious. Um, Tomorrow isn't promised, and
Absolutely.
yeah. So
Mm.
all right. How do you balance your logical, it says, military trained mind with an intuitive nature of mediumship?
Um, Honestly, I feel like they go hand in hand. Um, So
I
what I
think.
did in my military background, at least towards the end, my last assignment, I was with the Inspector General, Superintendent of Inspection. So we're all about details and evidence and show me and things like that. So I bring that mindset and mentality to the mediumship, like
Hmm.
tell me what's going on here and looking for the truth, and so that I can bring the most pure, authentic, and truthful messages for the living. And as far as vice versa, I think being intuitive, no matter what you do for work, is very important. Um, and, you know, and that's something that I teach. Most of us sort of go around not realizing we're using our intuition anyway. And if you can be more intentional with it, you know, just imagine what's possible as you're having conversations with people, as you're moving through the world and knowing, you know, what's real, what's right for you, what's true. I think that's so important. So I do feel that the logical mind can be supported by intuition and vice versa, because you don't always want to have your head in the clouds either. Like I enjoy, I'm a Taurus, I enjoy being grounded. I enjoy the proof and the evidence. And so for
Hmm.
me, it's been a beautiful balance. So clearly I purposely came with these intentions, you know, into this physical world for this reason. So, but I think that's true for anyone.
Yeah, I agree. Well, on that note, sign me up. Yeah, we definitely. I wanna. I wanna definitely sign up and get a session with you, and we talked about that. So that would be amazing for me. The what do you believe is the most important message you received from the spirit world, if I'm saying that correctly?
Yeah, the most important message from the spirit world. Um, so, especially if we're not talking something individualized to a particular client or session, I think the overarching theme or the common thread that I see is that, life does go on. It's not as though they have passed and that's the end. And now they're
Mhm.
either out here or who knows what. So it's almost like we come with, these passions and purposes and our dharma and how we want to serve the world. And it doesn't end just because we've left the physical. So we continue our work, we continue our ministry. So for example, if someone was really good with children, and I've actually experienced this in talking to a few times, a couple of different spirits, they are doing that on the other side as well.
Mm.
The most recent one, what she's now doing on the other side, she's actually a preschool teacher, and what she's doing on the other side now, and I didn't know this when I connected with her. Again, this is the evidence that I intend to bring forward. But she's helping children cross over on the other side, and so part of her life's work. Or, for example, if you were a teacher here in life, you're teaching on the other side. Or if you were a person of service in some way, still doing it on the other side. So to me, I thought that was beautiful because I can't imagine, you learn all these lessons and you have all these new skills that we've learned here, and then what? No, we take that with us. We take that growth and expansion that we have created for ourselves to the other side, and we still help people in that way. And so I really enjoyed that. It makes me feel good to know that I can continue. I'll be a medium on the other side. I'll be talking to people,
Mhm.
on the other side. So yeah, I think that to me was one of the most important things that I've learned. A message that I like to really bring home to people. It's not over. It's never
Yeah,
over.
I agree. I agree, and it starts with your faith, and I definitely have a lot of faith um, in the other side, and it's because there's amazing things that stop me from being hurt, stop me from a lot of things. Um, I remember falling asleep on the behind the wheel, exactly where I knew where I was going, and I knew how far I traveled. And it's amazing that I wasn't along the side of the road. It just how did that not happen? I just can't. Especially where there were some bends and some curves, and I'm like, how did that not happen? And so those
We're
experiences, yeah,
absolutely, and I know this to be true. We are divinely and unconditionally loved and protected, and so usually, and so people ask, well, if that's the case, why didn't I get the help here? Why didn't this happen? So we also work with free will and free choice. They can only help so much without that permission that we have to give them, unless it's life and death. That's the only time that they can step in. That's called divine intervention. That's the only
yes,
time. And so in an instance like you just experienced, and so divine intervention is bigger than we give it credit for. We think it's, the fun little things yeah, but no, it's bigger than that.
mhm,
It's when they are able to step in and, support us and protect us in that way. But imagine how magical your life could be if you gave them permission on the daily. And this is something I teach my students in my angel classes. Invite them in every day, and it has to be every day. It can't be a one and done. It's got to be daily. So, and you don't need a special prayer. Just say, angels, walk with me today. Angels, thank you for your blessings today. And you just open the door, and then you start noticing that life just gets easier and more joyful. And they like to uplift you and make life easier. And let them. Because it's not just about the spirit world. I love the spirit world. That's my work. So the spirit world is different than the angelic realm. The
mhm,
spirit is our loved ones who've crossed over,
yes,
and they can be beautifully supportive as well. But they're not part of that angelic realm who's here specifically to serve humanity. I mean, all the religious and spiritual texts talk about that. We know we have them, but we still
Yeah.
have to give them that permission. Right?
Awesome. The I could talk about this all day.
Same.
Yeah, and this is why, like, you're already working on it, but this is why you need a book. It's very, very important because I may want to have a conversation with someone, but it may be a person, it may not be a person like you, right, that I can open up to.
Mm.
And I can't find them or find her. I just can't do it. And so a book allows me to kind of have that conversation with myself by reading, and basically
Hmm.
just 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 be there to kind of understand what I'm going through, understanding what I'm looking for, and a book would be great.
Yeah.
And listening to your voice for the first time, you know, a voiceover audio book, done by you with your voice would be even better. So think about that.
I
Um,
I absolutely will. I had not thought about that before, but I am now, and thank you. And I agree about the books. When I was first setting out on my grief journey, thank God for books. This was before I could find all this stuff on the internet. I actually turned my dining room into a library. That's how obsessed I was with finding books about, this kind of thing. So, you're never the first to go through this. Somebody has to have this sort of wisdom and help me here, walk with me, guide me, and thank God for books. So yeah, I like that idea. So thank you for that.
all right. The Let's see. How do you think your unique combination of skills and experiences can help others? And I think you answered that, but you can answer some if you want.
Um, yeah, I like that question, Charlie. Thank you. I
Yeah.
think I like to think anyway that my work or my experience makes me approachable. The fact that I'm not one of those people, and I love them. These are, the people with their heads always in the clouds. I'm more of the grounded, practical. So I like to think that that side of my personality helps people to believe in my other work a little bit more. Um, and so and like you said, I sort of answered the question already. My practical side combined with the mediumship and teaching you how to be intuitive and that kind of thing. I think it's a little something for everyone. I hope my toolkit is big enough that I can find some way to support not everyone, but the people who feel called to sit with me.
Exactly. Um, are there any specific causes or issues you're passionate about, and how do you use your platform to support them?
As far as issues and causes, I feel like a lot of those I have supported and served with my military career.
Yep.
What I'd like to do now with my platform is to serve and support people and understanding that you're never alone. You're never alone in your grief. You're never alone in your pain. And even in your joy. You're with us in our joy. And also, I'd like to inspire people to believe and that there's more available to them, and that there are more possibilities than they will allow themselves to imagine. So I teach, testing and things like that too, and coaching around that way, and just sort of putting you in your power to create the life that you want instead of the one that you're living by default.
Mm.
So to me, that's my new passion and the cause that I want to help is helping humanity in that way now.
I'm pretty sure you will, without a doubt. You in just this 2 weeks we've been talking back and forth. I was able to kind of listen to a lot of your videos and the reels that you have, and just those alone is helping. All right, and it's helping in a way that you get to say, I understand, or I didn't understand. It could be anything that you are talking about. And the captivation is important, right?
Mm.
'Cause if you can't captivate anybody, they're not going to listen to you. You kind of walk away or have a discussion or a conversation with someone else that's with them, or kind of, like everybody else does, play on their phone, do things like that. Captivation and interesting, trying to be interesting is very important. What is the thing that you use for an icebreaker?
An icebreaker. Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if I've ever thought about that. I think an icebreaker. I like to ask people if they're happy,
Hmm.
honestly, because if you're not, guess what? You're in control of that. What do we need to change? What do we need to change perspective on? How do we need to uplift you? Um, so I'm
Yeah.
not sure if that's an icebreaker, but
Well, it could be, right? Because it's a question. You could stare and look eye to eye. I mean, face to face, eye to people, and you both may not say anything, um, because maybe you're uncomfortable or don't know where to start. That's never my problem, right? I can kind of, I, I'll say anything. I'm driving a bus and every day, and one of the things as the new faces come on the bus, and it's only a cargo van size, about 10 passengers, and they come in, and the first thing I do is saying, "All right, welcome aboard. If I fall asleep, just wake me up." And see who will catch it, right? And see if anybody will catch it. If I fall asleep driving, wake me up. And and some of them catch it. Other people, they don't catch it. They're walking on, they're getting in a seat, and they don't catch it, right? Um, uh, there's and I do things like that. That's my icebreaker. Just say something stupid and see who catches it, right?
love it.
Uh, the Now, if when this is off script, but me, if I was kind of walking along, you didn't know me, um, and let's just put the setting as a neighborhood park, right? I'm walking along and sitting on a bench or something. You walk by. Could you sense something with someone? Would you sense something, and would you approach them? Right? Is, is that something you do?
You mean mediumistically? Like if I
Yeah, yeah, mystically, and maybe
honestly, no. I
no.
think
Okay.
it's intrusive. I think it's irresponsible. I think someone has to give me permission to be in their energy. Even if a spirit approached me and said, for example, like you said, well, hey, that's my grandson. I would say, all right, spirit, find a way to bring them to me. Because you don't know where they are in their grief journey. Because now you've made them vulnerable in a public place. And I think it's, like I said, irresponsible. Could I? Yes. Will I? Absolutely not. I think we have a responsibility to handle this in a way where we think of the living and the spirit. So that's not my. I mean, you see it on TV. Yeah, you're in a grocery
Yeah.
store, medium comes up and approaches you. What you don't see is that they've already signed a release and they've already sort of talked. It's not by surprise because that's not how we work. At least that's not the way we should work. That's not my training. No,
And
I would say,
that's
yeah.
both with family and friends and strangers. You do it for all of
Strange.
them.
Right. But I don't know if somebody comes up to me and says, hey, are you sensing anything? Well, let me see. Give me a minute. I don't
True.
walk around with my switch on all the time
Hmm.
because it would be completely draining. And that's not serving anyone. So I have to intentionally open, link, allow. Like there's a process. There's a process. And again, that's something that anybody can learn. So this should be encouraging for anybody who's interested in this kind of thing. You just have to learn the process, learn how to manage your energy and have the right intentions. Because spirit will work with those who are wanting to be of service and wanting to bring healing to to the living and to the spirit world. But, I mean, it's not a parlor trick, you know. It can be, and it has been, but
Yeah.
I don't believe that that's the right way to
Natalie,
etiquette.
that's actually leading into my next question. How do
Uh-oh.
you how do you manage when it is draining for you? What do you do? And are you able to catch it?
Yes, yes. So you know, I've been doing it long enough to understand my energy. So especially if I know I'm going to do an event, I'm going to do it, you know, a bunch of readings. I will manage my energy throughout the day,
Okay.
and I feel myself beginning to tank, as I mentioned in that last story, and that was kind of the beginning, in the beginning stage of my
Wow.
meetings evolution. So, but now I'm, you know, you learn how to manage and control it. So I, in particular about what I eat. If I'm going to do a lot of mediumship, I actually don't eat meat because it's very dense and your energy is now being used up to process food. So there's a process, and you learn how to do it. Again, anybody can do this. It's about intention, dedication, education, learning how to do it and manage. Yeah.
Good. All right. That's my good friend on the bottom there, Michael Semeo or Semio. See, this is just, you know how we are around here, that people pronounce last names differently. You know, it could be this, that, you know, this. And with your military experience, you probably came across so many names that, you know, and mispronounce some of them. And
Yeah.
then they correct you and then say, wait a minute, that's not right. But
My
Mike,
yeah.
Michael has went through that most of his life, and they just mess up his last name all the time, you know. And but he's a dear friend of mine. He's very, very. Um, he's a deep person, right?
So
And he's writing a book, and I can't wait until it comes out because it's amazing. I seen bits and pieces of it and read some pieces of it today. So, Mike, you keep up the good work, and I am very, very proud of you, and can't wait for that hardcover copy to come my way. Uh,
awesome.
yeah. So, yeah, the so now that you're retired, and are you still under you know, you still answer to alarm clock? Do
No,
you just
no.
do what you wish?
Yeah, I do. That's kind of nice, and so it's giving me the time and the energy to, you know, do what's next. So I'm working on creating some classes, and you know, I'll be having some in person things. I'm looking at creating maybe retreats, and like you said, the book, and we'll, we'll see. And I get to do it on my time and as my energy allows. So I'm excited. We'll see. We'll see what
Good.
direction.
The when I retired, uh, the last 30 days is when I made that decision. When did you think that you were going to retire? Was it within that last year, or
Um, yeah. Well, I've been retiring for the past several years.
Mhm.
And honestly, for me, you know, age had something to do with it as well because I took a long break in service. So
Okay,
after my husband passed, I was out of uniform for, you know, decade and a half, and then went back in. So yeah, it was just time. I was happy to cross the finish line, but I don't know how much more I could have done those PT tests and things like that.
I get it. I get it. I'm very proud of my son doing his thing and working for
It's
the federal government. It's
all right.
so proud of him, and so, but yeah, it's a great thing. Quick story. Two of my younger cousins were signed up for the U.S. Army, got sworn in. Now they're twin brothers, right? So the craziest thing is they signed up, and then one had to come back a week later. blood pressure. There was all kinds of things, right, going on with him. So they were headed in two different directions, right? Because one was delayed and he came back the following, 2 weeks or something like that. Now they end up being in the same boot camp. So they went through training together. Now this is crazy, right? So that's part one. So as they go through the military, go through all the boot camp, right? They're in Fort Benning doing their thing. So now they talk about their next step and where they're going, where they're going to be stationed. So they both go to 82nd Airborne. And they were there, and it was just fate. Now they're there, both of them. And but it was so crazy that I thought for sure that they would go in different directions, different parts of the world or country, and so they did that whole different the whole mission together. And the craziest thing in their whole life, they played basketball together on the same basketball teams, same school, obviously, but it's crazy, and I'm so proud of them. I don't know where my hat is, but I wear the 82nd Airborne hat, and always I'm so proud of them.
It's beautiful. Yeah, you should
Yeah.
be.
Well, I promised them. I said I promised them that I would go to their graduation, and at that point and at that time, it was coming up, and so we get a northeaster up this way.
Oh,
At that, I really couldn't get down there, by plane, train. The only way I can get there is by automobile. So I jump in my car, I leave in early hours of the morning and try to get down there. So I make it, but I make it. I get in Fort Benning and I'm talking to people. I'm saying, look, I got to get to the graduation ceremony. It's coming. I'm late. I'm almost late. But I truly was late. So I'm asking everybody, where did I go? Where did I go? I don't know. I never seen so many people on a military base not know where the ceremony is. I must ask 6 different people. I'm like, and they're not civilians. So I'm like, what's going on here? I said, you know what? I'm getting punked or something. Something's going on. There must be a video camera or something. I don't know. So as I get into the arena, and as I'm walking up the bleachers to get up to the top, it comes my cousins, and they're saluting.
love
And that's all I seen. I'm like, oh my God. So I travel all this way, and that's what I see. And but I promised them. I said I would go, and I did.
beautiful.
So that's my little story.
Beautiful.
I have the very last question for you, right?
Okay, sure.
I truly don't want to leave you, but we're gonna. It all depends how long this answer takes us, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
It may take us a few minutes, but here it is. I ask everybody this question: who would you like to see on the Really Charlie podcast?
Hmm. 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 Um. Hmm. Let's see. I think my brother would be a great guest.
Yeah, I think you would too.
He's got amazing stories, and he's very inspiring.
Hmm
Especially you guys are friends.
It would be an honor for him to do that. But I try to get him before, and he was
No. He's modest, he's humble, he's quiet, and yeah, I'm not surprised you haven't gotten him on yet.
Yeah. So, but he's that's amazing story. And actually, maybe you should challenge him and say, look, you're not going to go on a podcast. So and I want to hear your story again. That's what you tell them. So you got to write a book. And you guys race, put a deadline on it, right? And say, all right, we got a year to write a book, my book and your book. And then we have 2 books in the family that are going to go on the shelf with some amazing stories.
Here for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah. I mean, look, Tracy already topped them. She got her own book,
She
right?
does. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing book. I got to finish it up. That is that's an amazing story, and just to go through that experience, I enjoyed it. But I still have some pages to read, and then I gotta kind of critique it. I'll give it an outstanding review, like I'm gonna give you. I can't wait to give you a review. And it comes up on your platform, and I'm like, well, I could give her a review right now, but I'm gonna leave something out. I'm gonna have to come back to it. I didn't even have her on a podcast yet. So,
We look forward to
um, so my friend, is there anything you want to close this great podcast with? Because you made it an outstanding podcast, and we got it done. We got it done.
got it done. I just want people to know and really understand that you're never alone. You've got your loved ones on the other side. You've got the angelics who love you unconditionally, and invite them in, invite them close, and intend to sit with them, let them be with you, love you, guide you, and ask them how they can support you. And then trust whatever comes into your intuition, trust whatever messages you get. And when they start showing you messages, stop saying, that was my imagination, or that was too good to be true. Start trusting that, because then the more they'll start sending you. So ask for the signs.
I'm going to do that personally. I'm going to have to do that. Glad you said that. That's something I have to do. Well, Paul Paris was right about you, right? Everybody else was right about you. You're outstanding person.
As are you.
When I did that reel about you in our podcast, I used the word special. And it is special that you went through everything that you went through and still come through with great intentions to help others, right? On this side and the other side. And as far as that, some people in your position may not have made it through it, right? I'm not saying it's not difficult, but you're a special person, and I'm saying that in a very short span of 2-week friendship. I'm very impressed, and first impressions are very very dear to me, and I read people very quickly, and and I'm also somebody that thinks I can fix everybody. Can't fix everybody, but I always try to do that, and I get egg in my face. So, all right, so work on that manuscript.
Yes.
We're going to work on our session, so I can give you 2 reviews, and I just can't wait. Cannot wait.
Thank you for having me as a guest. It's been great talking to you, connecting with people. And, I look forward to that session.
Yes, me too. And remember, you want any friends, family on this podcast, just let me know. Send me an email. You know how to get in touch with me. And anytime you want to come back on, you can come back on. And we can talk about anything, We can talk about your book. We can talk about anything possible. This is officially your open invitation to this podcast at any time. I'm going to work on Dennis.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to do something. I don't know. Maybe I'll steal his motorcycle and use it for ransom.
There you go.
Yeah, he might shoot me off the bike before I get to the end of the block.
He's a good shot.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah. I got to change my plan then. I got to do something, you know. Um, all right, you're the best. And God bless you and your beautiful family. And I'm just a message away if you need me.
So thank you, Charlie. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank
Take
you. All right, you're the best. Thank you.
care. Goodbye.
Bye bye. Thank you, everybody, for joining me and this amazing guest. This was unbelievable. I anticipated it for 2 weeks. I was really anticipating this only because, she's on all the platforms. Teresa is on the platforms and ready to serve and help you out in any kind of way. Um, the military service, it just so, it's Memorial Day weekend or just passed. And I had such a great U.S. veteran here. And so check her out on all the platforms. And thank you for joining me. And thank you. It looks like Allison, right? I hope I'm saying that right. She's, thank you. Thank you for listening and share the podcast. And please join me every Tuesday night on WNB1 Radio. Um, and I will have many guests. I'm actually having a show tomorrow. People have stories that they want out there. So I do a flash podcast. I get people on here. So feel free. All right. God bless. Go Celtics. And I love you all. All right. Thank you.